guys. I wanted to do a live, and I hope it's better sounding quality than I usually do. I put this microphone on, and it's a little different from what I usually do. So, yeah, I just watched a few videos about some tuning in and some spiritual things, and I just want to touch ground on a thing today about emotions. And I posted a little bit about all these things with Palestine and Israel and this whole thing that's going on Earth right now. And the thing is, all these energies going on Earth right now, they can disrupt us a little bit. So I don't know if you know this, but in Israel, which is also called Palestine, I know some people think it should not be called that, but I think it's called both. And I want to talk about good things here, so hang on. There's a big vortex, energy vortex, in where they call Israel right now, also called Palestine. This energy vortex is not something new. It's something that's existed for thousands of years. It's as old as the Earth is. So when there's disruption on Earth, and there's a lot of energies going on Earth right now that can feel disruptive, that can feel like they're taking over our minds, which is mostly that. And when something takes over our minds, then it affects our emotions. And when things affect our emotions, we tend to get irritated, annoyed, happy, joyful, sad, ecstatic. And when these energy vortexes is hurt by war and coercion and control, and this can spread to the rest of the world in such a sense where that it's okay that emotions go through us. So let's say something bad happens in some of the vortexes. There's a lot of vortexes around the world. There's some in Los Angeles, there's some in Bali, there's a lot of places on Earth that has these vortexes that, you know, everything that goes close to that vortex can be magnified into something higher than that. So it's a very spiritual talk I'm going to touch ground on this one. I'm reminded by an earlier reading that I did where I spoke about with a friend how important emotions are here on Earth. And emotions, you know, can be love, and it can be anger, and it can be sadness, and it can be whatever emotions we go through. And I think there's a lot of people who don't acknowledge these emotions, and they don't understand their emotions. I think a lot of men actually are very curious about all these emotions that's going on, because growing up as a man, especially depending on what generation you are, emotions are not very popular to talk about as a man. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how important emotions are. So let me just start by saying this. Emotions, more or less, is the reason why you are on Earth right now. And you don't have to be spiritual to understand this. You can just understand it the way that you feel is right for you. So there's no final result of this is the truth to everything. But this is my truth, and this is how I'm speaking about it. I channeled this once, and I've channeled it many times since. Emotions are the reason why we are on Earth. So this means if you're not accepting the emotions that is passing through you right now, if you don't want to feel the emotions, or you're feeling that you're struggling right now, if you feel that you're having a hard time in your life and you don't understand why this is hard for you, then understand that where you come from, where some people call heaven, some people call it the spirit world or the afterworld, when you come to that world, you will not carry all your emotions with you. You won't carry all... I saw a video before that explains it very well, but that's why I'm reminded that emotions have mass. So meaning it takes up space, not only in your heart, in your chest, in your body, because your mind is not emotion. Mind can affect emotions, but a mind is not emotion. So you have your brain here on earth. That's part of your living being. That brain can actually touch ground with all your emotions. And so what you're thinking, you can feel. And you can feel something that leads you to be thinking something. So that's more or less how it works. But when you touch ground with emotions, that is when you allow emotions to pass through you. And this is the greatest invitation. If you need a sign from anything else, whatever you're going through right now, it's okay. And it's going to be even more okay than it is right now. Emotions, the more you feel them, the more you get to know them, and the better you are at that one emotions. We say usually there's 5 core emotions, and those 5 core emotions usually helps you to determine, and you can, if you Google this later, look up 5 core emotions, because 5 core emotions is to understand the basic needs, a basic understanding of who you are and what you are. And let me just look that up for you for 1 second. So I'll do the work for you, since I'm the one talking about it. I'll do the favor. I'll just Google on another phone here, 5 core emotions, and I'll read them up to you here. Yes, yes, yes. Reject all, whatever they want me to accept. So here's an image of the 5 core emotions. So this is for you to better understand what I'm talking about. I know it's it's actually mirrored. Okay, so one emotion is joy. The other emotion is fear and sadness and disgust, which is a good emotion to know also because it really can feel like sadness and anger. So disgust and anger. The more you know about the 5 core emotions, the more you understand yourself. And thanks to my previous coach, Eric Allman, I got a lot of training into the 5 core emotions by saying you can actually go into each of those emotions and understand that's more emotions upon them. But why am I talking so much about emotions? Because they are the reason you're here. So imagine there's an afterlife. Even if you don't believe this, just go with it and just have fun with it, right? So when you die, let's say there's an afterlife and there's a spirit world, whatever, heaven, whatever it means to you. And so you go there. The main emotion of that place, let's just say 99, maybe even more % love. That's how much love there is. That's why when you want to feel who you are and why you're here, that's when you touch ground with who am I actually? What do I love to do? Where is my passion? You know, these things will give you purpose in life. This will make you understand where you come from and why you're here. And that's why we feel so much joy when we're connected to that. Or we feel some sadness even, because it's sad that we're losing someone that we love, or, you know, you will miss them until it's your turn to come into afterlife, or whatever you want to call it. So your emotions here on earth are so much more divided. It's so much more all the emotions you can go through, because we have our brain, and our brain can actually make thoughts feel something. And because it's a fine, super fine, elegant line between all these emotions. So the more you get to learn what emotions you have here on earth, and maybe you have a life right now where a lot of emotions are in your life, then those emotions can actually, let's say, give you lessons, or it's like a schooling of emotions when you're here on earth. So the more you understand that, the more you allow emotions to pass through you, it's actually you allowing lessons, life lessons, to go through you, even if it's tough ones. We say there's bad emotions and there's good emotions, but really there's just emotions. And I don't know if you know this Chinese story, I'm not going to repeat it, but it's about a farmer that has a son, and he broke his leg, and then the neighbors say, "Oh, we're so sorry. It's so unlucky." And he says, "Maybe." And then next day, all the government calls in for every young fit man has to go to war, and then he doesn't go to war, and then because the son doesn't go to war, and the father is being told by the neighbors, oh, you're so lucky your son is not going to war. And he says, maybe. And the whole story is about, you don't know where anything leads in the end. You don't know what life will give you. So judging it as good or bad is something very typical human, but all in all, it really isn't maybe the best way to label things in your life, about being saying it's a bad thing or it's a great thing or it's a hard thing. Maybe all emotions are equally great, equally learned lessons. So that's why I want to talk about today is that emotions have mass, meaning when you're here on earth, your emotions can take up space. Have you ever tried this? So you walk into a room and let's say your friends are there and it's mixed friends. So some have great energy and some have bad energy. As a pleaser myself, I would probably find the people who had the most issues in that room and I'll try to go fix it, because that's the way I grew up, because of the way that I grew up and my passion as being a sensitive soul as well. I feel it's my calling to help people get happy. But this also can take a toll on me, meaning it's not really serving me well for the long term. But as soon, because I want to learn these emotions as well, I'm doing it intuitively, but I'm also doing it to please, because I was pleasing my father. And so I would walk into that room and I could feel, oh, this corner over here is someone sitting there. I feel the bad energy like instantly when I walk in. Or they just say a few words, or they say anything, just have to move a little bit, or I just notice them, and then I'm realizing, oh, this person has issues in their life, and so maybe I'll walk over there. Other people, they'll look for all the happy, joyful people in the world and be like, ah, look at that guy. And they'll walk up to him, and they'll have a lot of fun, and they'll have a blast. They might even actually steal a little bit of that lovely energy, because, you know, it's so magnetic when someone else is in a happy mood. And they feel great, and because it rubs off, and you can actually promote your own great energy. So when you recognize emotions in other people, it's actually you just mirroring that emotion. It's because you have that same emotion in you when you meet someone. Let's say you're walking down the street and you keep meeting annoying people. It is because you are magnetic, and that your emotions that you carry, which is mass, which takes up space, is attracted to the same other emotions. But equally, if you're very sad, someone is joyful, but not ecstatically joyful, but the next step of your emotions, you will be attracted to that because it might be your way out of that emotion. So if you don't want to stay in your emotions. So that's why it's so important that we listen to our emotions, because when we sit with them, we'll learn more. Not only about ourselves, but also around other people, because you will attract other people's emotions. Thus, you will also attract other people. If you start listening to your own emotions, you won't attract them as much, because you accept who you are. You accept the emotions you go through. So as the emotions go high, when this whole conflict in the Middle East, then a lot of us are affected by this. But we can only be affected by what we tap into. So the more that you realize, do I need to practice these emotions, that I have to tap into this bad news that I read every day, or this great news every day? Or do I have to call my friend who always makes me in a good mood every day? Can I sit with my own emotions? Because you can maybe use that as a diversion to not listen to your emotions. That's very often why people have their TVs on all the time. It's because they don't want to feel their own emotions. When it's silent, you hear your own emotions. So let me go back to emotions are mass. This means when you walk around in the world, and I'm sitting here right now, I'm having emotions in this living room right now. If someone else comes from the outside in here, even if I left, my emotions are here. They have mass. I might carry most of them out of here, but I once channeled, and I was reminded now. I guess that's why I'm speaking about it. When you have emotions in any type of room, place, or wherever you work, or you're home, or you're around other people, when you have a fight, something like an extreme emotion, that takes up mass as well. Especially extreme emotions, because very often we don't know how to hold those emotions. We actually extrude them by being some way. Like being, I want to be angry right now. And then the anger goes out because I can't carry my anger. That's why I react to it. If I could carry my anger, I could sit in peace and breathe through my emotions. So when you understand emotions, you understand that they take up mass. And this also means if you are a sensitive soul like I am, you don't have to be, but if you are, in case you watch this, when you walk into a room, you will feel the emotions of that room, and it will, it can affect you, not in a negative way. It will only be negative if you collect it and you're afraid of it and you run from it and you're fearing it. And I don't want to carry other emotions. Maybe they can hurt me. And you start worrying about it. This puts you on a low frequency of energy. And this means you're more susceptible. This will be the equivalent of you, not eating healthy, being sad, getting stressed, allowing people to step on you, all these things, telling yourself you're not good enough. This is going low level. And the low level, you're more affected by other people because they can step on you. They will affect you because you allow it. So when we see someone who's a victim of anything in the world, it means they don't know how yet to put their energy up there so people are not able to step on them. So if you believe whoever you are is a good person and you're happy about yourself and you wake up every morning and saying, even though you might not believe it 100%, but at least 60, 90, 95%, that's fine. Whatever percentage it is, try to make it past 50, luckily around 60 or even more. And you'll be like, I trust in myself. I'm a good person. I'm not a good person because I want to prove it to other people that I'm a good person, but it feels right what I'm doing. And when I say something bad to people, I apologize if I not hurt their feelings, because that's their business. But if I did something that wasn't my intention, so I wanted to do something for a friend, but instead I ruined his day by ruining something that he loved. It's not that it wasn't supposed to happen, because if it did happen, it was supposed to happen, right? That is how fate is. And if you have faith in fate, then you will understand that whatever comes into your life is what you attracted. And it's not to punish you, it's to teach you so you will know that emotion. So again, you create a mass with that emotion, and then now you know how to be in that emotion. So really, if I have an emotion of love right now with you guys, I will sit here with love towards you, and definitely this is why I make these things, is because I care about you guys. Whoever watches, you're meant to watch, and who doesn't watch is not supposed to watch. And that's even when I'm banned on Instagram. With all the people I have and I had that Instagram removed, they're removed for a reason. And it doesn't mean that I'll just keep this profile going, but it means that even if you are listening now, it's because it's supposed to happen. It's because there's a message in this for you. If it didn't resonate, you wouldn't keep watching all the past to this point. So if it doesn't resonate in you, you can ask questions like, why is it something that resonated with me that I watched this long? And you can then learn more about your emotions once again, understanding what is within me that I'm not listening to yet. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It doesn't mean that you're right. It just means, like everyone else, like me, like you, we're all on a journey learning about emotions in life. So being human is really about emotions. It's really about feeling each one of them. And the more that you run from one emotion, guess what's going to happen later? You're going to meet that emotion so strongly that you cannot run from it anymore. Even if it takes your legs, you will feel that emotions. I mean, that's just the way it is. You asked to meet these emotions. If you keep running from them, well, there's a law of karma. What is meant for you, and karma is understood in so many ways, but very often what is meant for you will come for you. So it doesn't mean that the emotion you're running from will hurt you. It might feel like hurt because you don't understand it yet. So let me give you an example. I brought my girlfriend's kids to a restaurant, and my intention was to entertain them and to have fun. It was a tabenaki restaurant. If you don't know the concept, it's like they're juggling food. They make it on this big stove, and it's a lot of fire and fun and like throwing things in the air. And I thought it was amazing when I saw it, but I was older when I saw it for the first time. So they're young kids. They thought it was very intense. Not only are we sitting in a restaurant with something they've never seen before, and they're throwing around food, and then they're also supposed to eat the food that they're throwing around. They were weary about this whole concept. Doesn't mean that the concept wasn't right. It doesn't mean that the food would hurt them. It doesn't mean that it didn't serve them well. But it meant that it was new and strange and not comfortable yet. That is why you run from emotions. It's because it's not comfortable yet. Why isn't it comfortable? Why am I comfortable sitting on the floor right now? Because I'm actually sitting on the actual floor. Why is it comfortable for me to sit here now? It's because I've done it before. And so even if my ass starts sleeping, I'm comfortable still because I know I just move around, I'll be fine. And I know this video is not going to be forever, so I know I'm going to be out of this emotion or this pain or this whatever feeling that I have will pass, and it's worth it. So when you've had an emotion go through your body before and you sit with it and you appreciate the emotion, even though it's a bad emotion, it's actually serving you by you listening to it. And the more that you feel the power or the courage, I would say, because it takes courage, and it really does. The more courage you have to feel this emotion, the more you would understand all the tiny little steps of that emotion. And every time you feel that emotion, you start seeing the beautiful part of that emotion. The beautiful part of depression is that you're super sensitive to so many things, and you understand every little tiny sound can spark an emotion in you, and you feel out of control, but that can also be very beautiful. So emotions are meant to pass through us in some sense, and that emotion is here to serve you. And I promise you, all emotions leave again. The better you are with emotions, the more you understand that it's just a part of life, and instead of running from them all your life, you can embrace them and meet them like you would meet a good friend. The better that you know this friend, the more love you have towards him. So even if it's anger that you feel, you would one day say, oh, I have anger in my body. I know this. I have to hit something to get that anger out. Not because I want to remove the anger. I want to listen to it. And I don't want to use that anger towards someone I love. Then I use it on the pillow, or I go to the fitness and I work my ass off or something like that. So emotions are really here to serve you, and the more that you run from them, and maybe you are supposed to run from them to understand the benefits later on. That's why I'm not judging whatever journey people have. If they need to go through pain, if they need to do something stupid and then learn later, that's okay, because you needed that learning curve to learn that lesson. So it's okay that you haven't learned yet. There's something your family keeps telling you that you should have done, or you should have thought about, or you could be doing better, but still somehow you end up not doing it correctly, and you feel the pain of the judgment of your family and so on. And so you realize that, you're not good enough, but that's not it. That's not true. You're not good enough to stay in that emotion long enough time, because you're still learning. You're not comfortable with that emotion. You can have grown-up people running from emotions, but you have a child, 2-year-old, that would cry their eyes out if they were you. And they would have no issue crying their eyes out, because they're children and they practiced crying a lot, but they haven't practiced being judged by others a lot, which will be sadness or disgust that you are being judged by others. And so it depends, of course, on the child, but most children are hopefully okay with crying, because this is a sign for us to see that someone is sad. But if you don't show your emotions, if you don't share your emotions, nobody can be at service for you. And you can say, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want people to be sad around me, be sad that I'm sad, or be frustrated that I'm angry. But listen, they attracted you into their lives. So you're supposed to serve them the best you can by being you the most. And if that means crying in front of a stranger or a family member or something, maybe do that, or tell them, I feel like crying right now, but I don't feel comfortable doing it yet. And that's the truth too. So you being honest about having emotions and realizing that it's natural to be there. The more you can sit with your emotions, understand it. I still have issues with crying in front of people, but I can do it if I really have to. and nobody have to do anything. So it's when I choose to, I do that. And so I want to be that person eventually that is so comfortable with each 5 core emotions that I shared in the beginning of the video on my phone here. So I can later on know which one of them goes through me, because then I know, well, this one I've met before. This emotion I know, so it's going to pass. So my invitation to you, or the reason why I'm watching this is probably because there's an invitation for you, is to try to sit with any emotions that you have. So when it comes, if you're at work, if you can, just close your eyes for 30 seconds and feel that emotion. If you feel people are watching you, then you can go to the bathroom. Or you can even close your eyes and scratch yourself for 30 seconds while closing your eyes, but really actually trying to understand that emotion. This has helped me so much. And in fact, I used to tap my heart and be like, I'm here right now. I have an emotion, and that's okay. And I would breathe and be like, I'm here right now because I feel the poking of my heart, and my heart is the symbol of my emotions, meaning I'm here right now. I'm in the now with you guys. So these things, also tapping your feet can be something. Just really noticing your feet grounds you and will help you to sit right here instead of running from an emotion. So to go back to the final thing about mass and emotions, if you go into a room and emotions have mass, so you go into a room and there's emotions, there's a great party, everyone's having fun, you feel that emotion. You can even look at it and see, wow, I see this emotion from far away on people's faces, but they're really merely mirroring the emotions inside. And you would also see people smiling and feeling like there's something off about this. I don't know what it is, but it feels like they're not happy. And that's also you understanding emotions. You can see the face reacting, but the face is not reacting to the actual emotions that you feel is in this room. But you can also, disturb yourself by thinking, oh, I have this emotion. I'm great today, whatever you want to feel, but you're not really great. And so what you see in others is actually a mirror of yourself. So when you see, why are these people laughing? I feel they're not really laughing. They're probably sad. And now you want to disrupt their happiness because you think they should feel sad because you believe that is what they feel. And you're feeling that they're fake if they don't laugh or cry because you feel that they're sad. So really you're trying to manipulate this. And it's very important to learn this as an empath. If you have the empathy of others and you understand emotions, you see other people, you read them, then try not to interfere. The more that you can save your own ass by saying, I see there's some emotions going on in this room right now, but I'm not going to disrupt them. I'm going to allow them like you would allow your own emotion. I'm going to allow them to stay there and be there. And I'm just going to participate at watching it. I'll be a voyeur watching these emotions pass through these people. And I'll learn from it. I'm not going to change it. And so that's why we should not ever go over to people without invitation. You should always ask and say, listen, I see that you're sad, but you should do this to be happy. No, all you're saying with those words is that I don't accept you being sad, and I think you should change them because you probably will be serving you better. Instead, you can say, because that's not going to serve them most of the time. Because they would probably choose an even longer route now to not give you, the benefit of the doubt that they are actually wanting to be where they were, and so they will ignore what you said and pretend they're fine, or they won't learn that emotion themselves. So it's accepting emotions not only in yourself, but also other people. And that means you meet someone who's sad, you don't have to fix them. You don't have to make them happier. When you see a kid falling and they're crying, you don't have to say, oh, you're crying, get up. No, don't worry, don't cry. It's going to be fine. That is old school learning. That's not going to help the kid. What you can do is spend your time sitting with them, because what will that learn? That you can sit with them while they go through that emotion. And maybe that's why, like I haven't, you probably haven't had someone adult sit with you and let you go through the emotions. But instead they said, change your emotions. Don't be in that emotion too long, but sitting with someone who's feeling sad doesn't mean they will have a depression later. It means that the sadness goes away eventually. That's why I say to people who are saying, even I said this to myself, oh, I'm so lonely. I could be with people and feel lonely. I still can. But it doesn't mean that I am lonely. I cannot be a feeling. It's an emotion. It will pass through me. I will accept I feel lonely. Lonely is connected with sadness or despair or other things like that. Again, I urge you to look into the emotions, like I'm forgetting which one is connected to which one. But when you understand that loneliness is not an emotion that will get stuck. That's why you cannot become lonely. That's why you cannot be happy. You can feel happy. You cannot be sad. You can feel sad. These are emotions that go on through us. And when you say that I am sad, you're actually manifesting even more that you are sad, and you're trying to find reasons for you to be sad instead of saying, I feel sadness. So if you have a tendency to be sad or be depressed, realize your wording is also super important to understand how to sit with that emotion and not being that emotion, because you cannot be those things. You can only live them and feel them, because if you were that emotion, that would never change again. You can only be that, and you will never feel joy again, and nobody lives like that. And if they do, they very often end into the psych ward, or they get help from a psychiatrist, because that's what we call mental illness. It's because you believe, you will keep believing something or being something that you actually are not. I hope this serves you, because emotions are something that serves us, and that's why we're here. We chose this path, living on earth. There's a long line of people, souls, wanting to be on earth right now, but you have their seat right now. And they're wanting you to enjoy it, so you can tell the story later, so you can be excited about what you've gone through. So really super important to accept that you have this life with these emotions, and things are going to change all the time. And I promise you one thing you can be sure of is that you can be sure of nothing. And that is some kind of relief. You can be sure that probably your emotions are going to change all the time, because you can be sure that you can't be sure of anything. So that kind of will always change. And since you're changing all the time, so will your emotions. So I hope this will help you a little bit. And I'm going to just read what people have been writing here. I've been ranting, but on purpose. Robbie Mata says, I feel my guides are trying to tell me something. I've been praying for them to be able to do so. Yeah, that's a really good, thanks for sharing that, man. Usually our guides, we usually have one or two guides. We can have many guides. You can even ask all guides to leave and only have your core guides, which are the people on the other side that has lived same lives as you have. They're on the same frequency as you. And so they understand where you are and where you're going. And they want to help you only. There's nothing demonic about them. There's nothing low energy about them. They always want your highest passion right now that you're not listening to, Rob or Robbie. They want you to listen to that. If you want to connect more to your guides and understand what they're saying, you don't have to hear them as words. You don't always have to feel them even. You can even see things sometimes. But mostly the way it works for me is I either hear something or I feel something or feel like saying something, which I make the sound, but I don't actually say the full sentences. I can almost say like, I feel like they're trying to say this, but I'm interpreting my emotions. That's why it's so important for spirit, people who are connected to their spirit or connected to spirit, to understand emotions. This will help you, help yourself and others even better. And that's why we're here together. It's serving you guys. I'm serving you as you are serving me. By being listeners, we can spread this and put it out there, because I'm putting emotions into this, and these emotions will have mass. And now you feeling my words will give you mass, and your emotions mass. And then that is something you can relate to. So again, Robbie, if you want to connect more to your spirit guides, there's an invitation to you to do more of what you love to do. So if that's running, go for a run. But I urge you If you run a lot, start walking more. Go into the forest and run into the forest, but then walk through the forest and be appreciative of just connecting, just being in the, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to, okay, I'm listening now. No, no, no. They speak to you when you're not stressing muscles, attention, all this, just breathing, just being. And if they try to tell you something, it's probably because you're not listening to where your passion is. So if you keep stepping over your own boundaries to get somewhere and pleasing someone else, then it's because you're kind of falling over your own feet. So when you're tripping over your own feet, you will be falling into something else that is also meant for you, but more as a reminder so you can take the step closer to your guides, closer to who you are, because you chose to be here in this life with those guides that you have right now, and with your what do you call it? Your angel. Usually you have one. We all have a guardian angel, which is also, so people who don't believe these things is fine. You don't have to believe these things, but there's always someone taking care of you. And for some people, it's that extra voice in their head saying, maybe I shouldn't do this. That can also be the way that we experience that. So all in all, if you want to get close to feeling your emotions again, you can step into passion. Passion is one of the strongest feelings on earth. So you have passion for something that you really want to do, that you love to do. Stepping into that is so essential for being here on earth, because passion will often lead to self-love, proud, joy, all these emotions. That is also, again, like I said in the beginning of this video, and I'm going to post this in case you want to hear some of this again. When you step into these emotions, you will feel love. You will feel, the passion will make you feel love, because passion is always a driver for humans. And the passion is when we are most connected to our higher self. And that's why, and that's a big difference also between passion and lust. That's why people get confused very many times. They feel like, oh, that's a purpose. Like you see serial killers because they have mental illness. They feel the emotion of some passion around this situation or around this person. And then the mental illness, instead of it, tries to interpret it. And it's actually because mental illness comes from overthinking, comes from trusting thoughts and not relating to emotions. It's when we cut ourselves off because of trauma or because of violence or because of basically missing vitamins and minerals, not eating proper, things like that, especially on the states where you're evolving a lot like a teenager and also in your 20s. Super important. It's super important all your life, but it's just when you grow, you also grow your brain and everything. So it's very important to understand. And a lot of people with mental illness actually have a lot of gut problems, meaning their bowel movements are not healthy. And so if you feel out of bounds with yourself and you don't feel like you can feel any emotions or spirit guides or empathy or things like that, it's very often because you're not eating the right food. And that doesn't mean eating only greens. It means also eating meat or things that you're attracted to, but never processed food. Never. That doesn't connect you very, and I just want to rather say never. Maybe there's a few processed food things that will actually help you, but it's not going to help you faster than actually raw, really good, organic food. So I always would recommend anyone to eat organic if they want to connect. Honey is also a good way, raw honey, to connect to, feeling pleasure in your body, but sleep is also super essential. So anyways, I hope all these things makes a lot of sense to you guys, and that you can connect more to your emotions and understand emotions we can only connect to not when there's noise. You need silence. It's like yin yang. If you know yin yang, Google it. It's a black symbol with a white symbol. That's the opposite. It looks like 69, where it's like connected. It's like the wheel of balance. If you have, it's the masculine, feminine. I won't even be able to do this do readings and understanding other people if I didn't practice my emotions by being in balance with my feminine energy and my masculine energy. Of course, I'm a man, and so naturally have much more testosterone, but I can connect to the feminine side, which is the feeling side. And that makes us better men. It makes us understand women better. It doesn't mean that we have to go all through all these same emotions, because women have so much power to feel all these emotions. They're much more nature driven than men are. We are nature driven in other ways and aspects, but the goddess of life that gives life on earth is women. And so they have to have all emotions available to create life. And that's why some people, I don't even know what I'm saying now, still just listening to what I'm saying. So I'm tuned in, like I say. Some people who want children can't have children. It's because there's emotions they haven't worked with. There's emotions that doesn't serve them, that they're running. It's a turning wheel of repeating a pattern that doesn't serve them. They're looking with their brain and not with their heart. And they can say, oh, but I'm really trying to look with my heart. But really it creates an imbalance. That's why it's so important with yin yang in your life. Just understand that everything is just like karma. Everything that you not only give, if I give you a gift because I want thanks back, then I'm not giving a gift. I'm just exchanging a thing with words so I can feel better. So if I really want to give a gift, I'll give it to you even if you don't want it, but I feel like giving it to you, and I hope it serves you. And if it doesn't serve you, maybe there's a point to that not serving you, and maybe you give it to someone else, you throw it out, or you feel really bad about this emotion that I gave you a gift and you didn't like it. All these things we have to understand that giving, the intention is much more important than the action. So we can do great things for people with the intention of helping them, but really you help them make bad choices in life. So that's why your intention is great, but the receiver of it is also supposed to judge and not put the blame on you, because your intentions was okay. But we often react to intentions of helping others and fixing their emotions because we know the way out, but we should really ask them instead, do you want to get out of this? And then make them answer the questions. If I could say something that could get out of this emotion, would you want that? And then you can help them if they say, yeah, okay, let me hear what you have to say. And it might not be you that helped them out of that emotion. It might by saying, sit with it, enjoy it, even if it's tough, just know it goes away. The more you get to learn that emotion, the more it serves you later on. So really you can help them with sitting with it, but it's gonna be better if you allow them. I was just cut off from speaking about it. I guess I shouldn't speak more about it. Anyways, guys, I appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed this. I did, and I want to do more of this, so let me know in the comments if you want to see more like this on my profile. But just know that emotions are like jelly. It hangs in the air. You can walk into it. It feels strange. It might not be your emotions because you had those emotions before. Now that emotion you walk into knows you, is attracted to you, so it's just reminding you. And it doesn't mean that it's not supposed to be there, but it also means that sometimes you can brush yourself off, get through that emotions by shaking yourself or something like jumping. You can get over it and know if it's not your emotion, then it will go away. You can even say, I release all emotions that is not within me, that is not serving my highest and best good. Things like that will serve you as well. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the sound this time with this microphone. If it made a difference, I would love to hear from you. If you think this video serves anyone else than you, then please send it or tag them in this video. I think I'm going to put some subtitles on this, so in case someone watches it and wants to have some sound on it, not have sound on it, maybe it serves them. Maybe I can't post it here. It's going to be on my YouTube. On my YouTube, it's called Mark Banners with an S on, since the other one I had taken it myself from on another profile. So that's it. Thank you. I'm going to do more of this. I enjoyed it myself. I'll see you another day, guys. I'm going to post this straight away. Take care of yourself. And I actually Love you guys that you were here. Thanks.